She doesn't know that when I go quiet sometimes, when I get that look that people around me have started to recognize as the one that means I'm somewhere else in my head, I'm thinking about her, I'm thinking about you. I'm sitting in the middle of whatever is happening around me, and I'm thinking about your laugh, and the way you carry yourself, and the specific, irreplaceable warmth of your presence. And I'm thinking she doesn't know yet. She doesn't know what she already is to me. She doesn't know that in the most honest and unguarded part of my heart, in the place where I don't perform anything for anyone, in the place where only the truest things are allowed to live, she is already my wife. I need you to stay with me. I need you to not scroll past this, not minimize it, not tell yourself it's not for you and move on, because it is for you. Every word of what I'm about to say is for you, and if you leave now you will miss the part where everything I've been trying to say finally comes together into something that makes complete and total sense. So stay, please. Just stay right here with me a little longer. I want to explain what I mean when I say that, because I know how it sounds. I know that you're already my wife in my heart. Can sound like a line, like something crafted to land in a specific way, something constructed for effect, rather than spoken from truth. And I understand why you might hear it that way, because you are smart and careful, and you have learned, probably, through specific and painful experience, to be thoughtful about the things you let yourself believe. I respect that carefulness. I would never ask you to abandon it, but I am asking you to bring it with you into this conversation and apply it honestly and see whether what I'm saying holds up under that honest scrutiny. Because I believe it does. I believe it completely. What I mean when I say you are already my wife in my heart is this: I have already chosen you. Not in the formal sense, not in the legal or ceremonial sense, not in the sense that requires any particular moment or agreement or set of circumstances to be real. In the prior sense, in the sense that matters first and underlies everything else. I have, in the deepest and most deliberate part of myself, made a choice about who you are to me and what I want to build with you and how I intend to love you, and that choice is made. It is not pending. It is not conditional on your response or contingent on how things unfold or subject to revision based on whether the timing gets easier or the circumstances get more convenient. It is simply made. You are the one, in my heart, with full clarity and full sincerity in the full weight of everything I am. You are the one. And living with that knowledge, living with the certainty of that choice while the distance between us still exists, while the full reality of it is still becoming, is one of the most extraordinary and most quietly difficult experiences of my life. It is extraordinary because certainty like this is rare, because most people go their whole lives without ever feeling this clear about anything, let alone about a person, let alone about love, and I have this clarity. I carry it with me every single day, and it is extraordinary, and it is also, on the days when the distance feels widest, quietly, privately, deeply difficult. Because I can see exactly what I want. I can see it with a completeness and a detail that surprises me sometimes. I didn't know I was capable of wanting something this specifically, this clearly, this fully. I can see the life I want to build with you, not in a vague, dreamy, unspecified way, in a particular way, with particular textures and particular feelings, and particular small and ordinary moments that are more precious to me than anything grand or spectacular could ever be. You can see Sunday mornings. I know that sounds simple, almost too simple for the size of what I feel, but stay with me. Sunday mornings have always meant something to me. They have a quality to them that weekdays don't, a slowness, a permission to exist without agenda, a feeling of time being temporarily returned to you after the week has taken most of it. And I can see Sunday mornings with you so clearly, it sometimes makes me catch my breath. The particular quality of the light, the unhurried pace of it, the way we move around each other in comfortable, practiced, intimate familiarity. Not the familiarity that comes from boredom, but the familiarity that comes from genuine knowing, from having learned each other's rhythm so well that existing in the same space together has become its own kind of music. I can see you in that morning. I can feel the warmth of it, and it is the most specific and the most beautiful thing I have ever imagined. And then I come back to now, to the still becoming of it, to the space between that Sunday morning and this moment. And instead of feeling frustrated by the distance, I feel something stranger and more interesting. I feel grateful for it. Because the distance is where the becoming happens. The distance is where I get to keep working on being the person who deserves that Sunday morning. The person who has earned that familiarity. The person who is worthy of everything you have to give and capable of giving everything you deserve in return. I am working on that person every day. I want you to know that, not in a grand or dramatic way, in the quiet, daily, unglamorous way that real growth actually happens. Choosing patience when impatience would be easier. Choosing honesty when softening the truth would be more comfortable. Choosing to stay present when retreating into my own head would be simpler. Choosing to remain open when openness feels risky. Choosing you, the direction of you, the intention of you, the life I want to build with you. Even on the days when the choosing is hard and the distance feels long and the certainty is the only thing I have to hold on to. The certainty is always enough. I want you to know that too. On the hardest days, the knowing, the simple, clear, completely unambiguous knowing that you are the one is always enough to keep going. Always enough to choose right. Always enough to make the distance feel not like a wall, but like a path. A path that is leading somewhere real and worth arriving at. Can I tell you what I love about you? Not in general, specifically. Not the things that anyone would notice, not the surface things, not the things you have been told before by people who were only paying partial attention. The specific things. The things I have noticed because I have been paying the kind of attention that you deserve. Dalal, sustained, genuine, nothing missed attention. I love the way your mind works when you're figuring something out. There is a quality to your thinking that is unlike anyone else's. A particular combination of intuition and rigor, of feeling your way towards something and then examining it carefully once you've found it. You don't think in straight lines, you think in the kind of beautiful circuitous connection, making way that produces insights other people miss entirely because they were too busy going directly from point A to point B to notice everything interesting that exists in between. I love that about you. I find it endlessly fascinating. I could sit and watch you think for hours and never once feel like I was wasting my time. I love the way you love people. The specific attentive, you are the only person in the room quality of your love. When you care about someone, they feel it not as a general warmth or a vague goodwill, but as something directed and specific and completely personal. You make people feel like they matter to you in their particularity, not just as a category of person you have goodwill toward, but as the specific, irreplaceable, completely themselves person who you have seen and valued and chosen to love. That is a rare gift. Most people love in broader strokes. You love with extraordinary precision. And the precision of it, the fact that it is aimed so specifically and so truly, is what makes it so powerful. I love that you feel things deeply and don't always know what to do with the depth of your own feeling. I love that you are sometimes overwhelmed by how much you care, that the caring is bigger than you can always comfortably contain, that it spills over sometimes in ways you didn't plan for. I love that about you because I understand it completely, because I am the same way, because the people who feel things at that depth are the people who are most fully alive, most genuinely present, most truly in contact with the world and everything in it. And being fully alive and genuinely present and truly in contact, that is not a flaw to be managed. That is one of the greatest things a person can be. I love that you are still here, after everything, after all the ways the world has not always been kind to your openness, After all the times your depth has been met with shallowness, or your sincerity has been met with performance, or your love has been given to people who didn't know how to love it back, you are still here, still open, still feeling, still reaching, still believing in something real, even when the evidence for it has sometimes been thin. I love that more than I can fully say. I love the sustained, deliberate, courageous choice to remain yourself in a world that keeps offering you reasons to be less. You have not become less, you have become more. And the moreness of you, the way you have grown deeper and richer and more yourself through every difficult thing rather than diminishing, is one of the most beautiful things I have ever witnessed. I want to talk about what I am going to give you. Not what I hope to give you, or what I intend to give you. What I am going to give you, because the decision is already made, and the only thing still in motion is the how and the when. I am going to give you my complete and total presence. Not the partial presence of someone who is physically there, but mentally somewhere else, running calculations, or composing responses, or managing the impression they're making. The full presence of someone who has decided that you are the most interesting and important thing in the room, and is giving you everything that follows from that decision. My eyes, my attention, my genuine, unhurried, fully engaged attention. I am going to give you my honesty even when honesty is hard. Even when the honest thing is something I'm not sure you'll want to hear. Even when it would be easier and more comfortable to soften it into something more palatable. I will find a way to be honest with you that is also kind, because honesty without kindness is just cruelty with good justification. But I will not sacrifice the truth of it. You deserve the truth of it. You deserve a person who respects you enough to tell you the real thing always, even when the real thing requires courage to say. So I am going to give you my consistency, not the dramatic, grand gesture kind of showing up that is easy to do in the early days when everything is new and the feeling carries you. The sustained, long-term, this is just who I am kind of consistency that is still there years in, decades in, when the newness has become familiarity, and the familiarity has become something richer and deeper and more sustaining than newness ever could be. The consistency of someone who chose you once and keeps choosing you every day after that. Not because the choosing is always effortless, but because you are always worth the choosing. And I am going to give you my whole, unrationed, nothing held back heart. The parts that are easy to love, and the parts that require a little more patience, the parts that are still growing, and the parts that are finally, after a long time, genuinely at rest. All of it, every chamber of it, with the understanding that giving it to you is not a risk I am taking reluctantly, but a gift I am offering gladly, because you are the person I have been saving it for, whether I knew it or not, for as long as I can remember. There is a conversation I have been having with myself for a long time. A quiet, private, internal conversation about what I want my life to actually feel like from the inside. Not what it looks like from the outside. I know what I want it to look like from the outside. I have worked toward that with intention and effort and real sacrifice. But from the inside, when no one is watching, and there is nothing to perform, and the day is done, and it's just me and the life I've built, and the question of whether it feels like the right one. I have been having that conversation for a long time, and for a long time something in the answer felt incomplete. Not wrong, not the wrong life, not the wrong direction. Just incomplete, like a room that is beautifully furnished, but missing the one thing that would make it feel like it was actually truly lived in. You are that thing. I know that now with a clarity that leaves no room for doubt. You are the thing that was missing from the answer. You are the presence that would make the inside of my life feel as full and as real and as genuinely worth living as it looks from the outside. You are the one I want next to me when the performing is over and the quiet comes and the only thing left is the truth of how things actually are. And how things actually are, the deepest, most honest, most undefended version of how things actually are, is that I love you. Not as a conclusion I have arrived at reluctantly, or a feeling I have been trying to talk myself into, or a convenient emotion that serves some other purpose. As the truest and most fundamental thing I know about myself right now. As the fact that underlies every other fact. As the ground I am standing on when everything else is uncertain. I love you, completely, specifically, without reservation and without the careful management of how that sounds or what it asks of either of us. She doesn't know yet, I said at the beginning, but maybe, and this is the thing I keep coming back to, the thought that arrives every time I think about you and stays long after everything else has quieted. Maybe she does. Maybe somewhere underneath everything, in the quiet and honest place that exists beneath the noise of daily life and the business of getting through the days, she feels it. Maybe she has always felt it. Maybe the reason this lands the way it does, maybe the reason you are still here, still reading, still listening, still letting this in, is because some part of you already knows, already recognized it, already felt the particular an unmistakable quality of being truly, deeply, completely loved by someone who means every single word of it. And if that's true, if some part of you already knows, already feels it, already recognizes this the way you recognize something you have been waiting for, without knowing exactly what you are waiting for, then I want you to let yourself have that. I want you to stop standing at the edge of it and step all the way in. Because you have been standing at the edge of things for too long. You have been almost believing for too long. You have been holding the feeling at arm's length and examining it carefully and looking for the reasons it might not be real. The reasons you should protect yourself from it. The reasons you should wait a little longer before you let it fully land. And I understand why you do that. I understand it completely. But I need you to know that this is the moment to stop. This is the moment to let it land, all the way without the arm's length, without the careful examination, without the protective distance between you and the thing you actually want. What you actually want is this, and this is real, and you are allowed to have it. I have been thinking about the specific texture of the life I want to share with you, not the highlights, not the moments that would make a beautiful story told to other people, but the dailiness of it. The fabric of the ordinary days, because I have learned, through everything I have lived through, and everything I have observed about the people I most admire, that the quality of a life is not determined by its peak moments, it is determined by the quality of the ordinary ones, by what the Tuesday afternoons feel like, by what happens in the space between the meaningful events, in the long stretches of just living that make up the vast majority of any real human life. And I want the Tuesday afternoons with you to feel like something, not like something dramatic or extraordinary, like something real, like something warm, like something that you would choose again every Tuesday for the rest of your life. I think about what it would be like to come home to you, not home to a place, home to a person, to the specific, irreplaceable, completely you person who has become, over time and through sustained and genuine love, the thing that makes wherever you are feel like home. I think about what it would feel like to walk through a door and have the quality of the air change because you are in the room, to feel the particular relaxation that comes from being in the presence of someone who knows you can come home to you. Not home to a place, home to a person, to the specific, irreplaceable, completely you person who has become, over time and through sustained and genuine love, the thing that makes wherever you are feel like home. I think about what it would feel like to walk through a door and have the quality of the air change because you are in the room, to feel the particular relaxation that comes from being in the presence of someone who knows you completely and loves what they know. To not have to assemble yourself for anyone, to not have to be anything other than exactly what you are in that moment, tired or joyful or somewhere complicated in between, and to know, without having to think about it, that whatever you are in that moment is welcome, is enough, is in fact exactly right. That is what I want to be for you too. I want to be your home in that way. I want you to feel in my presence the particular and profound relaxation of being completely known and completely loved in the same breath. Not known and tolerated. Not known and loved despite what is known. Known and loved because of what is known, because the knowing only deepens the loving, because every new thing I learn about you adds to something rather than subtracting from it, because you are the kind of person whose reality is better than any idea of them could ever be. Your reality is better than any idea of you. I want you to sit with that for a moment. The actual, specific, fully dimensional reality of who you are, not the idealized version, not the impression you manage for the world, not the you that exists in other people's projections. The real you, the one that makes mistakes, and gets tired and has opinions that surprise even herself sometimes, and feels things more deeply than is always comfortable, and loves people more than they sometimes deserve. That real you is more beautiful and more valuable and more worth loving than any simplified or idealized version of you could ever be. And I know that, I see that, and it does not make me love you less. It makes me love you in the specific and irreplaceable way that only real things can be loved, not the way you love an idea, which is easy and costs nothing and requires no real presence, but the way you love a person, which is demanding and daily and asks you to keep showing up and keep paying attention and keep choosing it, even when choosing it requires something from you. I choose it. I choose you. Real and full and completely herself you. Every single day. There is something I want to confess to you. Something I have not said to anyone. Something I have kept in the private part of myself, where the truest things live until they are ready to be given to the person they belong to. I have practiced loving you, not in a calculated way, in the way that you practice something you care about deeply, the way you return to it again and again. Not because you have been told to, but because it matters to you and you want to be good at it, and you understand that being good at it requires showing up for it consistently, and you want to be good at it, and you understand that being good at it requires showing up for it consistently, even when no one is watching. I have practiced the patience that loving you well will require. I have practiced the kind of listening that hears not just the words, but what is underneath them. I have practiced sitting with difficult feelings without needing to immediately fix them, or resolve them, or make them go away, because I know that you need someone who can simply be present in the difficult feeling with you, who doesn't flinch or flee, or try to shortcut the process. I have practiced all of it, quietly, privately, with you in mind the whole time. Because you deserve someone who has done the work before they arrive, not someone who figures it out at your expense, not someone who uses you as the practice ground for lessons they should have already learned. Someone who has already done the difficult internal work, who has already reckoned with their own patterns and limitations and blind spots, who arrives at you not as a project, still in progress, but as a person who has done enough of the becoming to be genuinely ready, ready to love you well, ready to receive your love well, ready to build something with you that is grounded and honest, and built to last. I am that person, or I am becoming that person every day with enough urgency and enough sincerity, that the distance between who I am now and who I need to be for you is closing. And I feel it closing. I feel myself becoming more capable of the love you deserve, with every choice I make in the direction of honesty and openness and genuine presence. And one day, I don't know exactly when, but I know it is coming. I feel it coming the way you feel a change in the weather before the sky shows any sign of it. One day that distance will close completely, and I will be standing there, fully ready, with everything I have built, and everything I have become, and everything I have saved for you. And I will look at you and say, here, all of this, I made all of this for you, for us, for the life we are about to begin. I want to tell you about the moment I stopped being afraid of how much I feel for you. Because there was a period, and I want to be honest about this because honesty is one of the things I am committed to with you. There was a period when the size of what I feel was frightening to me. Not because it felt wrong, it has never felt wrong for a single moment, but because it felt large. Larger than anything I had felt before. And large things are frightening when you are not sure you can hold them. When you are not sure your hands are big enough, or your heart is strong enough, or your courage is sufficient to carry something of that weight without dropping it. But I had a realization, quiet and simple and completely transformative in the way that the most important realizations always are. The realization was this: I don't have to hold it alone. That's the whole point of it. That's what it's for. The size of what I feel is not a burden designed to overwhelm one person. It is the exact right size for two people to carry together. It is the size of a shared life, the size of a genuine partnership, the size of the kind of love that builds things that last. And the moment I understood that, the moment I stopped trying to manage it alone, and started understanding it as something that was always meant to be given, always meant to be received, always meant to exist between two people, rather than inside one, everything changed. The size stopped being frightening. It became the most hopeful thing I had ever felt, because it means there is enough. There is more than enough. There is so much love here, so much genuine, specific, daily, choosing you love, that you will never, in the life we build together, have to wonder whether there is enough of it. You will never lie awake at night, questioning whether I mean it. You will never have to read between the lines, or interpret silence, or talk yourself into believing something that isn't actually there. Because it will all be there, all of it. Visible and consistent and available to you every single day in ways that leave no room for doubt. I want to give you certainty. I know that's an extraordinary thing to offer, because the world offers very little certainty, and the people who have promised it before have not always been able to deliver it. But this is the certainty I can offer, and I offer it completely. I will always be honest with you. I will always choose you deliberately, with my eyes open, knowing exactly what I am choosing, and why. I will always tell you where I am, not just physically, but emotionally, internally, in all the places that matter. I will never make you guess. I will never leave you in the uncertainty that comes from someone who is present in body, but absent in every way that counts. I will be here, fully here, present and honest, and choosing you and making sure you know it. That is the certainty I can give you. And I believe, I genuinely